Shit.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time. It's Thursday. It's Corner Booth pregame.
Hey, is this thing on? Hello, testing.
No debate, cause it's off. I'm too official, got the drip, I got the sauce. Bring the proof when it's time to tell the truth. I'll be at the corner booth, find me in the corner booth, yeah. Still standing and defiant. Slay the competition, cause I'm walking like a giant.
What's up, Twitter world? There's my little OJ.
He's got an autographed OJ photo.
Has anybody heard the story about the Glizzy guy?
He fits today's generation. Like,
Oh yeah, speaking of lady basketball players, Lola Bunny, bonkable. Yes or no?
feel like we mixed it up and actually add our Thursday intro because basically, let's be honest, we're trying to transition to more of a live primary audience. So why not have our live intro? So there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Corner Podcast. I'm your host, Jared Clem. Alongside a shorthanded group of dudes today. Unfortunately, Dom is caught in the hell that is Connecticut traffic. He may be here later. He may not. He let me know beforehand, so it's all good. We've got the core four here tonight, though. Fresh off of a Monday shift where he looks like the happiest man alive. My dog, Chris Lipoff. Dude, by the way, I don't even care how hungover or tired or exhausted you ever could be. Your hair always looks phenomenal. I'm extremely jealous.
Oh, geez, I don't know, man. 10 hours in a car ride yesterday was mayhem. Also, shout out to the state of Virginia. State of Virginia is the worst state in America, dude. I hate driving through there. We drove through Virginia, somehow ended up in West Virginia, then went back into Virginia, and then it hit
Which route did you guys take to get out? Was it, did you guys go up through the Shenandoah Mountains, or did you guys try to cut through the coastline?
We kept getting taken off the highway, so we literally just went through from the highway to the scenic route, back on the highway. Then we ended up by the mountain. So yeah, I would say the mountain route, and we knew we were out of Virginia as soon as the mountains just disappeared. As soon as we hit Maryland, they just left.
Yeah, I hiked the Shenandoah Mountains. It is one of the most beautiful places I've ever been to.
The view was gorgeous.
I have never been so scared in my life. I was climbing up a rock face like this, and I said my buddy's like, "Why are you climbing so hard?" I'm like, "I have never gone rock climbing this extreme in my life." I looked like a black bear cub trying to scale the wall. That's really uncoordinated. I was like, I am not dying today because the drop was 300 feet and there were razor sharp rocks and branches below me. I was like, if I slip, I die. So we're gonna do this real slow. I'll
say it. Like, I'm not a heights guy. I used to be. Now I'm just not. Not a heights guy. I'm a floor cat. Like, I like to be on the ground.
I'm a floor cat.
Like, I like flying. Love airplanes, but
I can hang from a rafter. I literally, when I was working at a warehouse for my mom's old company back in high school, I used to climb up into the rafters and eat lunch up there, just hanging my feet 30 feet up, just not caring.
Oh yeah, that's like a zoo exhibit there, dude. I used to work. I had a warehouse gig too. We'd be on a cherry picker. You could be on a harness and you can sit on a machine, 150 feet in the air, and then if you're not strapped in by mistake, you walk off, you're done. So that's that was a scary gig there, but that was part of the job. But yeah, heights guy, floor cat guy. So put that on my resume. Confirmed floor cat.
Love it. So by the way, boys, if you didn't notice, today's title is Contenders and Pretenders Part 1. I'm starting something new this year. We are officially at the 8-week mark into the fall football season. So we kind of have a general idea of who is in, who might be first out for both the college football playoff and the NFL playoff. NFL playoff, obviously, letting in 14 teams, college football playoff letting in 12. So later in the show, I will be asking you guys 5 teams that have a shot at winning the national title and winning the Super Bowl. Not just making, winning. So I'm going to be asking you guys, one of them is Miami. do we take them seriously? Like, listen, they should have beaten Florida State by 50 on Saturday. I wasn't happy about it, but that's one of the ones. Penn State's another. So just so you guys can get an idea what we're doing. NFL, it's like, are the Eagles, or the Niners? We're asking teams that have maybe had a rough start. Like, I'm not obviously not gonna ask you, hey, are Georgia and freaking Oregon, are they contenders? No shit. But this is more or less for the teams that are kind of like on that fringe of great to elite. Are they that team? Because, as much as we try to act like there's always Cinderella stories, even the year when our Birds won, Chris, we were the favorite going into Carson Wentz's blown ACL. So we would have not been in this category either. So that's where the way I look at it. Okay. 2022, same thing. It was us, Kansas City, Cincinnati, and San Fran. It was 4 teams. They knew it was going to be 4 teams in there. It was really not much of a surprise. So I digress. We'll touch down an hour, 5 teams for each league, and we'll agree if they're contenders or pretenders, and we'll do it at the same time, second week of December, we'll do it basically when the college football playoff is picked, and then we'll do it for the NFL as well, and we'll kind of just stack the teams that aren't inside the inside 4.
So are we doing 5 NFL, 5 college?
Si, senor.
At the same time. Okay, I didn't know if it was like 1 week we're doing 5 NFL, next week we're doing 5 college, and then kind of just bouncing. All right, cool. We doing this right now?
No, we're doing this in like 20 minutes. We're going to talk obviously about last night's Sunday Night Football game.
Okay. Can we also? All right, we'll get to it, but I want to talk about the Hail Mary.
I gotta ask, how about them Cowboys?
Damn, bro.
What'd you call me the first time I had this on? Ranger Rick or whatever?
Hey,
Ranger Joe.
Ranger Joe. Yeah, Ranger Joe's back.
Thank you, Pete, bro.
I never watched Full House, dude. I didn't get the reference. I had to look it up what it was after the show.
The show is so lit. It's a very calming sitcom.
Great
I love
show.
it.
I said on
so here it is. So I'm gonna wear this hat now. So this is gonna be our new tradition every Monday. Every time the Cowboys lose, I will have this hat on for talking about the game. So whether that's 30 seconds, a minute, 20 minutes, I will keep it on the whole time, even if it's a little tight on my head. This is one of those very cheap State Fair cowboy hats. I wanted one. I thought it was going to work for vacation, but I never needed it on vacation because we had one beach day and I was too inebriated and hopped on my bike and forgot the cowboy hat. So
I'm going down to Florida in a month. Can I wear that as I go through the Everglades?
Yes, I will literally. If you
I would love to just hold like an alligator with that hat on. It'd probably be like a hard Tinder pick.
Yeah, I want to see you fight an alligator with this hat on. As I just over poured my stout again, son of a bitch. Man, this shit's dark. All right. So, fellas, Sunday Night Football. Initial thoughts on the Jared's Hate Bowl. That's honestly what it was. I hate both teams a lot, but it was kind of like, who do I hate more?
If you want to tackle this one real quick, I'll say apologize to Kelsey because I actually thought the Cowboys had a chance. But it proved what the Cowboys are every year is a garbage time football team. Like a lot of these games that they lose, they almost win because they're down 3 scores and you think they're going to come back. And then they are starting to come back and they're coming back and they're coming back. And then they end up losing at the end because of something, pretty drastic. So the Cowboys lost the first 3 quarters and won the last quarter, I'll say. Played a good fourth quarter, lost the first 3. But by the time the fourth quarter came around, the game was so out of touch that they were down, I think, 17, 20. They were down
something like that. Yeah.
Something like that. Like, they're down 3 touchdowns. So Purdy played good. I was actually surprised about that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, no, I lied because I didn't think Debo and Kittle were going to play. So he got a couple of his weapons back. I would like to see him without his weapons for one game, see how he plays. But
you want to see him basically play Hurts Tampa kind of stuff.
Yeah. So
okay.
Purdy played well. Cowboys fumbled pretty bad. They might be the worst team in our division, and that's weird to say. Be honest with you, I think they are.
Listen, I just had to witness what we did to the Giants last week. Okay. They might be closer to the Giants than they are to the Commanders or Eagles, but they're better. They still have a better quarterback. They still have an actual identity on offense. Is it a flawed identity? You betcha. but it's still an identity where I don't know if the Giants want to tank or they want to try to contend. I don't understand their point of view 95% of the time they're on screen. That being said, the 49ers aren't an amazing football team either. They looked decent last night. They were able to put up points. But with how much talent they should have smoked Dallas or put them away. But once again, they let Dak kind of just sit back, kind of get him moving. But the second the game mattered, to quote the depressed Cowboys fan, Dak was on his bullshit again and started throwing interceptions. So my thought on the game was simply this. Detroit is the best team in the NFL, in the NFC by a mile. They are the number one seed. They will smoke almost anybody they play. The only teams that really have a shot at beating them are Niners, Eagles. I'd say Falcons get a puncher's chance. And then maybe Packers. That's it. With a healthy Jordan Love. No Jordan Love, they're done.
I think Falcons are a good team, dude. I do. I just I said it. I said it when we were doing our division picks. I said a healthy Kirk Cousins. I think I picked the Falcons to win the NFC South. I was very big. I'm just big on Cousins. I know he had that ACL injury, but I mean, look what he did in Minnesota. I mean, he made Minnesota a good football team at one point. Yeah, he's like a middle tiered quarterback, but he can win games. And the NFC South is just not that good. I mean, the Bucs are good, but I'm not really going to talk about the Falcons. But and be honest with you, I kind of lost train of thought. What the hell I'm even going with this? So I'm going to let somebody else take over. Matt,
what are your thoughts on the game?
It's the 49ers are a surprising team, not in a very good way. Just a handful of one of the surprising teams that I didn't expect to struggle this early on. They're one of those teams being 4-4. I thought this was going to be a team that was going to run away with the NFC West. I thought this was going to be a team that was going to be competing with, Philly, Green Bay, Detroit for the number one seed. And right now they just got back to 500 and we are 8 weeks into the year. This was kind of what I expected. I figured it was going to be a close, high scoring game. Just looking at the facts, I mean, Dallas doesn't look anywhere near what it looked like the last couple of years. The Niners are relatively they're missing Ayuk and CMC. That is the big two components of this team that is not exactly the same as what it was last year. Now, granted, those are two massive losses, but Jordan Mason has looked amazing in replacement of CMC, and then he goes down, and then you got this guy named Garendo who picked right up as if where Jordan Mason left off. It's as if if you're a running back and you want to have a really good career, just go to San Francisco. Where Mostert looked great there, Breida looked good there, Mason looks good there. CMC had a revival of his, not like a revival, but nobody's going to succeed in Carolina. Then he goes to Niners, and all of a sudden he's got back-to-back healthy seasons. He looks great. And then Garendo comes in 85 yards off 14 carries. Had a couple of receptions too. Purdy impressed me. I believe I just looked at it. He had a quarterback rating of 115, 18 26, 261 touchdown. Kittle had a big day on National Tight End Day.
Oh yeah, happy National
Tight End. I have a side story real quick. I placed a National Tight Ends Day parlay of Evan Engram, Mark Andrews, David Njoku, Sam Laporta, Travis Kelce. I had that all hit. It was $5. It would have hit for $1,300. I had David Njoku, I had Mark Andrews, and I had Sam Laporta. With 5 minutes left in the Jags game, they just gave up possession to Green Bay. I cashed out for $30-something. With 1 minute and 40 seconds left, Evan Engram scores the touchdown, and then obviously Kittle goes on to score. So I turned $1,300 into $30. That is my big FU of the weekend, besides everything else going on. But getting back to the game, impressed with how Purdy played. Not surprised with Dallas. Dallas is just one of those garbage time teams where they find a way to be down 2+ possessions, and then they just make it a close game in the end where it comes down to one final 4th down conversion that they just don't get. And that is why Dak Prescott's making, $60 million around that a year?
Roughly.
To just not get the job done. And it's just the same Dak, just a whole lot more money.
If it makes you feel better, Matt, tonight so tonight's game rides on if I win $60 out of a $7 fan cash parlay that I threw in because I was at a game. I'm not being unemployed. I'm not throwing any money into gambling. That's either gas money, that's food money, whatever. I had $7 of fan cash. I said, screw it. Let me go Commanders money line, Eagles money line, Falcons money line, and Steelers money line. I took Steelers money line as an ulterior motive there, Nate. I want you guys to be good again because I'd rather play you goons for the NFC title game instead of the Cowgirls or the Commanders. So, are you going to do that? Draft Quinn Ewers or Shadur Sanders and get rid of Daniel Jones. How you do that? By losing games. So, go Steelers. So, also, it's a $65 payout, which puts Papa back in the driver's seat in my gambling account. So, go Steelers tonight. Also, because I want to see – listen – there is nothing better than Giants and Eagles when it's actually like they're both contenders. It's
Am I sorry?
You're good.
But am I gonna buy Cooper DeJean jersey?
I'm excited for that game.
I was an advocate of buying that at the draft.
I was so hyped. I texted that group chat because when he made that tackle on Jamar Chase, I jumped off my couch. I was like, let's go. I didn't realize how big DeJean is. He's a large dude.
Nah, dude, he's a unit. Dude,
for a corner, he's big. I was on
eBay, and I guess they're selling his jersey a lot, but like it's from like out of country. It's from like Turkey. I'm not buying a jersey from Turkey, dude. It's gonna say
$40.
Half I sent you.
Yeah, it's gonna say like Cooper DeJearno or something.
Yeah, use the website I sent you.
Was it like $45?
Okay. Yeah. Uh-huh.
It's safe. It's safe because
it is.
Use the website I sent you. It is superior. I'm buying a Jalen Carter jersey from there. I'm probably buying a Jerome Brown one as well because shout out to you.
Can you send it again? Because I don't know when you sent it.
Yeah, I'll pull it.
I only say it's safe because that Aaron Rodgers jersey I ordered off eBay when they were 2-2 just arrived today, and I don't want it anymore. I don't want it anymore, but
can you show us I want to see the quality.
I'll grab it upstairs in a minute. But no, it was stitched. It just doesn't have the tint. It doesn't have like the. You could look like Elmer Fudd in that thing. You do that.
Except I actually do have hair. I just have a big ass forehead.
It doesn't say Jets or anything on it, but it's a green number 8 jersey that says Rodgers on the back. So you kind of put 2 and 2 together. But no, everything looks fine. It's just the fact that I just don't want it anymore, but I can't return it.
Yeah, I mean. Listen, that Wentz jersey behind me is from one of those rep sites. I got it like senior year of college. Matt remembers that Wentz jersey. That I wore that jersey to death. It's still intact. It works. It looks great. It's just I got fat, and also they traded Wentz, or else I would have slapped the AJ Brown plate that I had on my other Wentz jersey on that one and worn that. But lose a little weight, boys. I'll be able to fit back into my XLs again. I'm down to, I think, 270 something, 280. I'm getting there. I ran a mile in back-to-back workouts and I felt great. So it's a key, boys. Get out. Also listening to David Goggins on the way to the gym does help.
Wait,
who's going to carry the boats and the logs?
Danger Zone I'm talking about?
No, David Goggins is in like the motivational speaker, the one who like is bald, yells at the camera, yelling, "Get hard, go for it!"
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Who's the guy who sings Danger? Kenny Loggins. Kenny Loggins sings Danger.
K-Log!
I got my Logins confused, dude. I thought you were like
Goggins and Loggins.
I thought you were working out to the song Footloose, dude. I'm like, what? What are you doing?
Listen, I can work out. Listen, I always start every golf game listening to the theme song from Caddyshack, but that's just me.
Dude,
so,
I was listening to Fergie at work one time, dude, and like people heard it and they just started laughing at me.
Were you doing the
Sometimes
dance
I play
like Epic Movie?
Song.
Yeah, it was real Fergalicious that day, boys. That's all I'm gonna say.
Nate, I think we have our first clip of the day. Is this one?
Can't wait for this one.
No. Well, also I have the golf course in my house, up on my house. Nate, and Nate and Chris. Hopefully, you guys have there. Matt knows exactly what course I'm talking about. It's the one behind where our buddy Pat got married.
Mhm.
It's DGen Central. Dudes are lighting up green stuff on each hole. I saw dudes doing stripper salt on hole 4. Like I've seen, there's beer cans everywhere. It's a decently maintained course. People are blasting music, and it's just fun. The vibe, and it's even better when there's like a group of drunk townies, a couple of young college kids who are clearly hungover playing golf, and they're all around like a group of literally curmudgeon old people who are too cheap to use the country club because they're right next door to each other.
Dude,
And then they're complaining about how loud the music is. Oh my God, it's my favorite.
Dude, that's insane, dude. Imagine like throwing a kegger on like hole 7.
Dude,
like,
I had a buddy, he literally dropped half a bottle of Red Stag on hole 2. I'm like, what are you doing? We still have 9 holes to go. What the hell?
Dude, that's not, dude. I've done some crazy stuff, dude. One time, me and my buddies, we tailgated a mall. We pulled up a couple trucks, took out a folding table, played some beer pong outside a mall. Got crazy
like
trouble for that one.
Skit from You Betcha, where the guys were all in the van, like playing Xbox and stuff while their wives were shopping. That gives me the same vibe.
Yeah,
all right,
I just
so
found
I will
out
say
that.
this, but yeah, so I was doing the run today. It was fun, but you know what also was fun? A lot of those 1 o'clock games. The NFL has to stop flexing games in and out because they're 0 for 4 this year. Like that's like the Birds against the Bengals was a good game. Packers Jags, great game.
Commanders and Bears.
Well, the first game we'll start with Ravens Browns, amazing game. But no, we were subjected to the Bills shellacking. I'm not even going to talk about this one sentence game because
I missed every game, so
it's okay. It's okay, Chrissy. I'll let you take a breather this week and just enjoy the show. And you can pipe in with your humor because we need it. But I'll run center stage here because my entire focus was on these games. I was so annoyed that I had to beg Nate to see if he could help his boy out about watching the Eagles-Bengals game because the NFL thought it'd be a great flex to do Seattle versus Buffalo. Buffalo massacred them. It was ugly. This is why Buffalo's not in our Pretenders and Contenders segment because they're the second best team in the AFC. It's Kansas City, Buffalo, 40 feet of shit, and then the Texans. That's the AFC rankings right now.
Yeah, that's the past 5 years. That's the past 5 years in the AFC football, by the way.
Yeah. No, you know why the Ravens aren't in there? Because they got smoked by J-Mo. LASIK J-Mo is the real deal, bro. That ball he threw to I think it was Tillman. I leapt out of my seat. I was like, oh my God. Listen, I like the Ravens. I like Derrick Henry a lot. Grew up loving Ray Lewis, obviously Uncle Ed, and I love Lamar Jackson. I just, dude, like the Ravens MVP Jackson train was rolling so hard, and I'm like, yo, am I missing something? They really haven't beaten anybody good yet. Like, I'm like, am I missing something here? Like, Josh Allen should win MVP outright. And then maybe we throw in like Jared Goff. Like, seriously, like that's who it should be right now. The fact that Mahomes, by the way, is still top like 6 in MVP voting is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. I understand he is one of the best quarterbacks of our generation, but I think he either has the same or still more interceptions than touchdowns. Or he did coming into Sunday, he had more interceptions than touchdowns. I think it was 8 picks, 6 touchdown passes. And people were calling my boy Jalen turnover prone. So I guess we'll start off with Ravens-Browns. The Browns are a decent football team with Jameis Winston, which really shows how bad Deshaun Watson was.
Well, like, why wasn't he starting? I mean, not why wasn't he starting? When Watson was out, why was he not
DTR?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they thought DTR could be the good stand-in. I think it's also like, I swear, I think the head coaches are afraid of Deshaun getting upset. That's why they didn't bring back Flacco on another backup contract, because Flacco didn't want a quarterback who was a threat to him. Here comes Jameis, who might actually win them some games. And it's hilarious to me. And here's the thing: I'm all for a second coming of Jameis Winston, winning games and getting a second redemption shot at his career. Also, shout to Desmond Ridder for getting signed by the Raiders as a backup now that Aiden O'Connell's out. If you have not seen the interview yet, is very heartwarming and very powerful. And I'm really rooting for him to take the starting spot from Minshew because Des Ridder is my dude. And I hated how they did him. Artie Smith did him dirty in Atlanta. Anyway, the Ravens dropped like 2 easy interceptions. They're blaming the sun. Yes, the sun was terrible, by the way. And then Kyle Hamilton's interception on the play before the Cedric Tillman throw was awful. But then I also saw Rashad Bateman drop a bomb in the middle of the field, and it hit him right in the chest plate, and he's pointing at the sun. It's like, don't y'all wear visors for that? Like, what's going on? If you guys,
It's
a game of excuses, and they played sloppy. That's what it rolled off to me.
And what I'm hearing right now is like in the AFC, is there a team that can't compete with KC?
Yeah, Buffalo. They've smoked every team they've played this year.
Yeah, we gotta hope that happens in the playoffs though.
Not every.
I think the emergence of Keon Coleman as a number 2, Shakir in the slot, Cooper out on the other side. Yeah, Buffalo is now a wagon.
Yeah, Cooper was quiet this weekend.
Yeah, he was getting doubled. You watch the tape. He had a guy go back and watch the L22, Nate. He's getting shadowed every time.
Yeah, he'll be fine. But it's just one bad.
That's why Coleman was getting open. Well, also they had, I think they had Witherspoon shadowing Cooper the entire time. They had Woolen. They had Tariq Woolen covering. I
don't know. I never sell myself on Buffalo. I just don't. They're a great regular season team, and then just Josh Allen just loses his Josh Allen. I don't know. I'm going to make that make sense, but he just loses himself in January, and it's kind of sad to see.
Their weapons disappear for the playoffs more than he does.
I don't know anybody
is the Aaron Judge of the NFL. Great in the regular season, and then just does not get the job done in the playoffs.
That's a good comparison. And I can throw in Lamar in that category too, because Lamar's a regular season guru. A lot of AFC guys seem to be good regular season quarterbacks and just can't tear it up in the playoffs outside of Mahomes. And I don't know why I keep selling myself on the Bengals. Like the Bengals are going to turn around. I guess that's going to be an issue of mine. But
it's not Joe Burrow. I would say that right now. He's not the problem. He looked great yesterday. I think he went 5th. I think he went 8 of 8 or 9 of 9. His first 9 passes. He was on a roll. O-line's okay.
I don't think Joe Burrow. No, I'm not saying. I'm not saying Joe Burrow is in that Josh Allen Lamar category. I think he's in he can be in that Mahomes category.
He's in the Hurts Goff performer. He's in the Hurts Goff Stroud category now.
He's like the tier right below.
Yeah,
I think there's Mahomes. I think, and I hate saying he's in his own tier. There's that second tier, and then there's that third tier.
Yeah, the way I look at it,
and then my internet wants to be.
It's okay. It's Mahomes and Allen. Then it's Lamar, Jalen, Stroud, Goff. This is my list. Then you get the Herberts, Kirk Thuggins. You get Aaron Rodgers. You throw in some of the young guns I don't know if you want to throw Drake May. No, Drake May is the tier below. You throw in what's his face from my brain's hurting around. Geno Smith, Brock Purdy, that tier where they can win you games, but they're not that game dominator. As much as everyone's oh, Jerry, you're being biased about Jalen Hurts. I'm he won that game. Him and the defense won that game. Hurts was on a roll, man.
Each tier is the first tier is difference maker championship level. Yeah. Second tier is
you can't replace him, but it's got to be a generational talent.
Playoff performer, but they haven't got to the big stage. Besides Hurts out of that group.
Yeah.
and then it's just like a drop off of mid-tier guys.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess to put a bow on Ravens and Cleveland. Cleveland plays games ugly, and the Ravens weren't able to out ugly them. And it came down to just a couple drops, and that's football any given Sunday. So, I mean, I'm not reading too much into it. I think the Ravens are still contenders. I just think that they're not the tier that Buffalo and KC are at. They're more of a Houston Texans kind of third or fourth seed, great team, but they're flawed.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad AFC teams. Like, I'm at the standings, and
Matt's entire division is literally 2-6, except for Buffalo.
Yeah, that you got the AFC South is
Awful.
Outside the Texans is a crapshoot. AFC North is a crapshoot. Besides, I mean, the Steelers and Ravens are competing, and then AFC West is all right.
I throw Pittsburgh. I throw Pittsburgh in the AFC North. That's about it. And then out west, like besides Kansas City, what is it? LA?
NFC South sucks, but what's new about that? But then every other division has been competing.
Well, in the East, let's be honest, Dallas is like a mid-tier. Like they're going to be around 500. But then you have the Commanders and the Eagles, who are both two of the hotter teams in football. The North is last year's AFC North. Every team's going to finish above 500.
I think the Cowboys, hot take here, I think the Cowboys are as good as the Seahawks. I think they're just a mid-tier football team with an offense that can either click or not click, and then their defense stinks.
They have a top 5 receiver and a top 15 quarterback, and they have a couple playmakers on defense.
Yeah, that's Geno, top 15 quarterback. DK Metcalf is having
top
an unreal
10
season.
Receiver.
Yeah, and then their defense just, for me, they stink. But
the one thing the Seahawks have is they have more talent on defense, and they have a better running back and a better number 2 receiver. But the Cowboys have a better offensive line. And you see that when Buffalo is able to 4-man rush and just knock Geno out.
Yeah, it's the NFC. AFC doesn't weird me out. The NFC weirds me out because there's just so many hitters. Like there's, we can go through it in a bit, but
we can talk about that when we get into the actual game. But let's move on to the 6-pack games. We will start in. We're gonna start in College Station, fellas. I am sorry.
I watched that at a bar in North Carolina. It was the most southern bar I've ever been to. And there was like 5 guys named Jimbo and Big Ed. So that's how you know I was in a Carolina bar. Also, there was a guy dressed as Jesus Christ and then another guy dressed as a Sasquatch, and he was 6'5", and he's wearing a Sasquatch outfit. So I saw Bigfoot there. So I watched that game live there. I was Nussmeier had a horrendous second half.
Awful.
3 interceptions. I didn't watch the entire game because I was at a wedding the whole day, so I missed some good college football. But from what I've seen, I think I brought this up last week or the week before. We cannot play with scrambling quarterbacks. We don't know how to handle them. We get destroyed on the read option almost every single play. It showed against the Gamecocks. Like I said, we would have lost to the Gamecocks if their starter was playing. I'm just saying. But yeah, that was tough. That was a really tough game. College Station is no joke. It's an unreal stadium to be at. The atmosphere is electric. The offense looked flat. The defense kind of kept us in the game, but it was just at one point, like the cookie was just crumbling. And I did see something here next week. Well, this week is going to be the elimination game for LSU versus Alabama in Baton Rouge. So, like I was telling Maddie, I'm happy we dropped the game now, but it's win now. And if we lose, the season's over. So
You're basically playing for a New Year's bowl game at best.
My dream is to, it's a bowl game basically for us. My dream is to end Alabama season right now because I've never seen that before in my life. And I know so many. I like Kevin, but you win too much. It's our time now. Sorry about that.
So I got to say something. So we almost put Missouri and Alabama in the 6-pack. Last minute before the show, before I sent the picks into you guys, I held off. And thank God I did, because that game was terrible. Missouri's freaking awful, man. They are so bad. But to Texas A&M, I don't know what to do with them.
I don't
if
either.
I pick them, they lose. If I pick against them, they win. So they're permanently now banned from the 6-pack, barring upsets.
I picked them. The only time I picked them when they lost was week 1. They lost in Notre Dame.
Me too.
Yeah, me and you. I remember me and you picked them, and I was like big on A&M, and then their offense just looked flat. And they were at home too. It's a home game, I think, and they just couldn't. They would be. I think they'd be 7-0, 8-0 if it wasn't for Notre Dame. That's how important I guess that win was for Notre Dame. But I guess good one. I like Texas A&M, so I'm not gonna like crap on them as much. But I will say that was a tough loss for us because if we won this game, I was okay losing to Bama, which in reality, I think I don't know if we're going to beat Bama, but Bama's been shaky. They just beat Mizzou, smashed them. I'm nervous, really nervous. I'm going to let this one go to Maddie because I know he's definitely got something to say about this game.
Anybody's upset hit this week?
No. I listened to Kelsey, so I
almost nailed Duke SMU, or it was a Duke SMU. I almost nailed that. I'm pissed.
I forgot. I did throw that in a tweet. I was going to go off at him. I'm not mad. I'm disappointed. As a friend, as an emergency contact, former emergency contact.
Have I been moved back into the slot?
Yeah, you, Nate, and okay. So Nate's my emergency contact at like 3 a.m. because I know it's 12 on the West Coast. Jarrett, you're my midday guy.
Because I'm asleep. I'm knocked out like a rock by about 9.
Yeah.
11.
And then Maddie's like my early morning, middle of the night guy. Like I just woke up from like a crazy like power nap or like a nightmare. And I'm like, shit, let me call Maddie. He's going to need to hear this.
Hey, Matt, quick question. Who'd you pick for the Cowboys-Niners game?
Niners.
Okay. So, fellas, I just redid the math. Me, Nate, and Chris are actually tied, by the way. A 3-way tie for second behind Maddie.
Can we combine our points?
I'll get a third of a jersey.
Yeah.
Because you guys both got I was 1 behind you both last week, and then you guys both got 4 this week. I got 5.
Yeah, I didn't do the math, but I'll reckon.
I was just checking. I went through last week's standings. Like, oh snap, we're all tied at the second place now. Chrissy, the comeback is real, brother.
Yeah, dude. Well, I mean, I would have lost my upset anyway because I did pick my original pick was going to be Cincinnati, but the fact that Kelsey gave me that terrible pick and then they got smashed in. They got smashed in. It wasn't even like a healthy loss. They got smashed.
Ugly. Oh my god.
And like I was gonna make like a video rant while I was at the reception and send it, but I'm like that day's too important to my buddy to rant about college football, so I can't do that at his wedding. So I figured I'll do this on the podcast. Kelsey Coyne, you let me down.
All right,
I can't even say I love you anymore.
Maddie, quick on LSU. Then we're gonna move on to the other couple games.
Nussmeier he just wasn't clutch in this game. This was a game you needed to win. You couldn't get it done. Texas A&M didn't even throw the ball. I mean, they had 134 yards passing, but they had 245 yards on the ground. So they beat you by just playing old school ground and pound football. Really just nothing else to really talk about. I mean, he went 50% completion for 405 yards, 3 interceptions, 2 touchdowns. And like Chris said, we got Bama in an elimination game next week. Everything from here on out is a must-win if they want to make any sort of run at something. So it's just it is time to wake up, LSU. You cannot lose anymore.
And this is the first time I'm not blaming Brian Kelly because this is strictly on the offense's performance. And
Yeah.
Um,
And like I was just saying when you were gone, they beat us on the ground. Like they had 245 yards of running.
Your
Like,
defensive
just-
line was like Swiss cheese.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
we-
it was terrible. I mean, Brian Kelly, as much as I don't like him, he didn't tell Nussmeier to throw 3 second half interceptions.
yeah. It just and they can't control the read option. I mean, they just can't handle scrambling quarterbacks. It's bad. Defense is just not good. We know this. Me and Manny knows. I know we got to move on, but that was the big thing coming this season was establishing the defense because it just seems like our defense can just never click, and we're a D-back school. So I would like a little bit of, a little bit of support back there, but also our front line's atrocious.
No, y'all need Coach Ed back there. Go Tigers.
Yeah, we somehow still do that, and he hasn't coached for us in 5 years. But you know what? His spirit lives on, that beautiful man. I wish he was back every day.
He just shows up at Cristobal's practice to give inspirational talks.
Yeah, he just
he was dude, look up his portrayal in the Young Rock show because he was the D-line coach for Miami when the Rock was there, and he's just chewing on coffee grinds. It is the most hilarious thing I've ever seen in my life.
I'll tell you, dude, he's the pig from Samurai Jack. Yeah, I can send you that clip.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
He talks literally just like the pig from Samurai Jack.
All right, I'm gonna speed run. Illinois got smoked by Oregon. I'm sorry for putting that in the 6-pack. Penn State outlasted. It was close for about 20 seconds, and then the fact that Wisconsin has no actual offense kind of showed. So we'll go to NFL. We already touched on Bills and Seahawks, and Cowboys and Niners. That leaves the Birds and Bengals. Y'all already know. Them boys are back.
Yeah, dude.
The vibes are up, Chrissy. The vibes are up.
Yeah, Matt from three touchdowns. 3 rushing touchdowns, just no smile. I'm like, all right, dude.
Oh no, he was smiling when he threw that bomb to freaking
he don't smile when he scores a touchdown. When he throws, I think he gets questioned more in his arm than his legs. So I think when he throws a touchdown, that's like, yeah, dude, like I still got it. And like when he like rushed in a touchdown, it's like, yeah, I know.
Okay, no, the one he ran in, the one he actually had to run in, like it was a 15-yard scamper. That one I saw him actually smiling and like celebrating. I think it's just the tush push ones he hates. I think he's just like, honestly he wanted to give that to Saquon. I think he felt really bad he had to take that score. It helped me though because I was playing against my buddy who has Saquon and I have Hurts, so I was like, that's 7 for me, dog.
Imagine that face, dude. Just each time like the tush push happens, like. Nah, he from what I've seen, I had to watch highlights today. Defense play awesome. It seems like Fangio definitely knows. It seems like this team is definitely adapted to Fangio's culture, and his playbook, and his defensive schemes. But offense looked great. This is the second week in a row where both sides of the ball were clicking. We're 3-0 under the buzz cut of Sirianni, so I understand why you chopped down the hair, Jared. Now I get it. Now I understand. It was for Sirianni and it was for the Eagles, and you are a one of a kind.
Standing by my boy. Listen, I've been a Sirianni defender for 4 years. I have taken bullets for that man on this show.
I would do the same thing as you. I would do the same thing as you. I would look like a Skittle.
You have a great head of hair, so do not shave your head.
Yeah, right now
I have scarring from a medical condition up here still, so yeah, I can shave my head and it looks normal.
If you shaved your head, Chris, you would look like those M&Ms where if you like suck on the M&M and it just takes the coloring off, but you didn't like chew it yet. That would be you.
Yeah, dude,
I would say he looked like Mr. Potato Head's illegitimate son.
Dude, I would look like 11.
A sun-bleached Mr. Potato Head son.
Yeah.
The special Irish albino potato.
Yeah, dude, I'm as pale as it gets, dude. Being Irish, and I'm gonna throw this in the stratosphere. Being Irish is definitely a disability when it comes to skin, because
I was waiting for you to get the second part of that sentence out, Chris. So we weren't canceled.
Yeah, that's Coach O.
That's Coach O.
That's Coach O.
That's Coach O. So yeah. So all right, yeah. So what I meant by
Was that Lane Kiffin knocking back that moonshine over there?
Yeah, I hate that dude.
Joey Fresh.
No. Yeah, no, I hate Lane Kiffin. I was thinking of Curtis Horn for a second. Yeah, no. Being an Irish dude, you can't tan. So that's the disability part of that. So don't cancel us. We're a good pod. We're still growing.
So once again, still no touchdowns allowed by Quinyon Mitchell since week 1. DeJean tackling the slot. If I see Avonte Maddox's scrawny little butt on the field again, if it's not a Hail Mary play, I'm going to blow a gasket, keep DeJean on the whole game. One thing I will say is Vic Fangio, his defense is literally, it takes 2 or 3 drives, and then he's got your offense figured out. He's all about adjustments and movement, and you saw it like third drive, Chris, it clicked. They were like, okay, we got you squared. It's over.
Yeah, the Bengals are just a bad football team.
Offensively, they are great. They just looked like they saw a ghost yesterday.
A
white cornerback ghost.
They're like a hit or miss good offensive team right now, dude. Because if I go back to their previous games here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let me just go back. Let me go back. All right. They lost to the Patriots, had a terrible offensive game. Lost to the Chiefs. Actually, they got screwed over by the Chiefs. I will say that. I'm still going to stand by that one.
I will too.
They lost to the – where are you at? They beat the Browns, but offensively, Joe Burrow 180 yards. Like they're having a lot of shootout games, and then there's games where they just look flat. Like it's like okay, the offense looks good, and then they look bad. Like against the Giants, 208 yards, had 17 points. Offense, I don't. What declares good offense?
I'd say 24 points against a decent team.
Okay, 17 points against the Giants. Sorry, Nate.
That don't cut it.
Don't cut it. 10 points against the Pats. 20 points against the Browns. Yeah, the Bengals are a hit or miss team in my opinion, but I hate saying that.
I would lean 60-40. Eagles are a good team. Then Bengals are a bad team. I think they were hitting all cylinders last night, and then it was like a floodgate of turnovers, and it had 2022 vibes where the Eagles were vibing, everyone was having fun, laughing, hijinks on the sideline, guys are forcing turnovers. I'm like, I was getting some 2017, 2022, 2019 vibes where I'm like, okay, the boys are having fun out there. It's a good time.
Yeah, that's a scary thing when a football team has fun, dude. That's when
with that much talent, yeah. So this will actually perfectly segue us into Pretenders or Contenders. We don't have a banner up for it yet, but I will just start it off. We're going to go to college football first. We're going to start with Hook 'em Horns. Texas lost a very ugly, trash-ridden game, if you get the joke, against Georgia. They've kind of looked – they didn't play this week, I don't think.
They did. They played Vanderbilt.
Oh, Vandy, that's right. Yeah, and it was a close game against Vandy. I don't know how much – sorry, I completely forgot about that. I bet the health of my beard on that game. I'm going to say contender, but it's hanging by a knife. Like they're hanging by a thread. It's not Texas looks like the same team they were last year, if not a little worse. They have a quarterback problem possibly now. They're not stopping anybody on defense, and they're not scoring enough points where they can afford to be reckless on defense. So that's my thoughts. Chris, what do you think?
And I hate saying it because I actually like Texas a lot. If I had to, like I said, if it wasn't an LSU fan, I'd probably be a Longhorns fan. I think they're pretenders. And the only reason why is because they haven't played anybody besides Georgia. Like, yeah, they smashed Oklahoma. Oklahoma was not good coming into this year. I mean, they beat the piss out of
Michigan.
NC State, Michigan. Like, Michigan wasn't anything coming in this year. Like, they're just playing a lot of drop off teams. They barely beat Vanderbilt. You're right, Jared. There is a quarterback problem. Is Quinn Ewers overrated?
Yes. I think he's overrated by college standards.
I think he is too.
Hear me out. He is much to me like Justin Herbert, where he was okay in college, but I think in a pro system, he'll excel. That's why I'm really hoping Quinn Ewers doesn't go. There's two quarterbacks I don't want going to the Giants because then they'll be better than Philadelphia at some point. Is Ewers and Cam Ward. Shedeur, they'll be a playoff team eventually. Same thing if they go get the kid out of God damn it, I can't think of it right now. Kansas State, Avery Johnson or something like that, where they get a guy who's a little more nimble.
Oh hell no! You Hell no! No! Dude, Jared, I love you. Okay, and I understand that you don't want Cam Ward to go to us because
I will start riots.
I understand that, but please, for the love of God, we saw what that MF did against freaking.
Okay, sorry. It was not Avery Johnson. It was Nussmeier. That was who I thought.
No, we don't want that either. So,
well, I know you guys don't want that, but here's the thing: is Nussmeier honestly kind of fits what the Giants need, a gunslinger with a little mobility.
But doesn't he make questionable throws?
Yes, but for the Giants that works. You won 3 Super Bowls with gunslingers. Eli and Phil Simms. It's in your DNA to get a gunslinger.
Yeah,
when you guys get one of these accurate, smart guy quarterbacks, it doesn't work in your system. Cam Ward is a gunslinger. I'm
not doing another LSU quarterback, wide receiver, star running back in the goddamn NFC East, dude. Send him anywhere else. I don't want him there, dude, because I don't want to root against Nussmeier now. I got to root against Jaden every week now. I got to root against – I love Joe, so I'm not – never against Malik. I got to root against Malik Neighbors now. Like, it's just like, stop. Why does the NFC East have to have a team that just needs a quarterback right now?
Well, at least we won't go to the Cowboys.
Yeah, still, I was like, I mean,
they have Dak for another decade. They're stuck with that contract.
Yeah, oh my God, dude. I'm just hoping like the Panthers just draft.
Honestly, if you want my honest to God opinion, I think the Panthers, if they're the number 1 seed, they'll go get like a Quinn Ewers.
I seriously, I don't know where Nussmeier is going to go. Well, I don't know. Well, Nussmeier is a junior. I don't know if he's declaring for the draft, but if he does, I'm going to look at like a hypothetical mock draft.
Carson Beck going to the Giants.
I would love that.
Me too. But then again, that would defeat the whole purpose of wanting them to tank for a better quarterback if they just go and take Carson Beck, who's closer to Jake Fromm than he is Matt Stafford.
Dude, I would love like Nussmeier in like Tennessee at like 2. Or like, oh God.
Imagine Will Levis getting the.
I'm just looking at it, dude. Like the Panthers will love that. The Giants have the 10th pick. That's what I'm scared of.
My dream scenario for Cam Ward is him to go to the Las Vegas Raiders.
Nussmeier for me is like, oh God, because not. Oh, dude, he can go to the Jets. That'd be
Nussmeier
cool.
To the Jets. No, I am on that train.
No. I'm sorry.
No?
I know it's my team. No, I'm not. Not at 4. Maybe in round 4. Not after 4.
Okay, so my grid on Nussmeier is a back end first, early second.
No, I would like if everything goes where it would be something where it's like a Ewers and Sanders goes 1-2 and the Jets remain at number 4 at the end of the year. I would like Cam Ward. That's who I'd be targeting.
Keep him away from the New York metropolitan area. I want him going to Las Vegas.
If he's a back end guy, if Nussmeier is a back end guy back in the first round, I think teams that are going to snag him is like maybe 25 Steelers, 26 Vikings, which I would actually
with
like.
Nussmeier with that arm strike inside the dome. I love it. We do have to get moving though. Speaking of questionable quarterback play, Ohio State. Contenders or pretenders? Wait, Matthew, you didn't give your answer on Texas yet.
I'm going to go pretenders. And I like Texas a lot. And it's just because, like Chris was saying, they have a cakewalk schedule that they're taking advantage of. And they're one big time opponent. They lost to them. And since Quinn Ewers got banged up a few weeks ago, he just hasn't looked the same. Interceptions and everything like that. I think they are maybe a year out with Arch Manning from being contenders. But I think right now they get into the playoffs, they get one big time opponent. I think that's just a wash.
Texas win the national title in the next 2 years. I'm telling you right now. With Arch Manning, he looked that good. Ohio State, Chrissy.
I will say Contender because they almost beat Oregon, which I think they could have won that game. They do have Penn State this week. They do have Penn State's number almost every damn year. Ohio State just seems to be like they always seem to come out fraudulent. My meaning with that is like you think they're going to be good, like really good, where they can contend, and then they just kind of fold, kind of does what like Penn State does a little bit. Now that there's 12 playoff teams, I do think they have a shot at a national title, even though I despise them. I think, they have two big games coming up. They have Penn State coming up this week. In a few weeks, they're going to be playing Indiana. I think if they beat Penn State, which I don't know if they do, but I'm still going to put them in the contender profile because they are a team to be reckoned with, especially in the Big Ten. So they're still going to be in that contender slot for me.
I will say this about Ohio State. They have this $1 million roster. They should be smoking everybody they play. Junkins, Jeremiah Smith, the other kid whose name I cannot pronounce for the life of me at wide receiver. And on top of that, Will Howard, basically he's just a glorified fullback with an arm. Anyway, and they have a good defense, and I think it really just comes down to their biggest problem. What I say in the college football show, boys.
Defensive championships.
Yes, but I also said Ryan Day is my big name coach to get fired this offseason. I think Ryan Day, and I'm telling you right now, they have a shot to still lose to Michigan. That's what scares me if I'm Ohio State. They're not by far and away a better team. That they're literally hanging by beating, listen, Wisconsin would be a under 500 team in the ACC, Big 12 or Big 10. Does not matter. They're skating by on playing bad teams, and that's why they're still alive. I'm telling you right now, I think Penn State might knock them out on Saturday.
I hope they do. I just don't know.
Well, listen, it's like the who's worse of head coaches in the clutch, Franklin or Day. At this point, I'm kind of leaning towards Franklin to win.
Yeah, the Big Ten is just a big mess.
It's just the Pac-12 teams leading the way now. But yeah, Oregon is kind of cemented themselves. Speaking of Penn State, are we buying Penn State? Oh, Matt, sorry, Ohio State, go. Gee,
another pretender for me. Another pretender for me. They have smoked a lot of their opponents, but those opponents were also Akron, WMU, Marshall, Michigan State, Iowa. The one game that they played a ranked team was number 1 Oregon. They lost 32-31, and they barely beat Nebraska, who was just a Patrick Mahomes wannabe, Dylan Raiola right there. I'm going to say pretenders because Penn State's not going to be easy for them. Then I know they got Michigan later on. They got Indiana. I'm going to say pretenders. I just don't believe in Will Howard.
I don't need. That's why I have him as pretenders as well. All right, going down to South Beach. My boys. I'm going to just rip off the Band-Aid. I think they are contenders. I think their biggest problem is they're trying to experiment too much in these games. They should be just handling business and dipping. The good sign I saw was when Miami was up by 25 or 26, whatever it was, against Florida State on Saturday. Cam Ward was on the sideline screaming and slamming his clipboard because they should have been up by more. I like seeing that. Damian Martinez is a running back, whatever. I think it's the Maxwell Award. I think he's a clear shot at the Maxwell Award. Obviously behind Gentry, who's probably going to win it, but he's at least going to get nominated. They have a great receiving core. Their defense is getting better and better each week. And if they just stop playing with their food, they'll probably beat every team they play until Clemson in the championship game by about 30. They have the talent too. So I think they are a contender. I think they are just experimenting, but they're so good. What would be a loss last year they honestly, if this was last year's Miami without the talent they have and the fact they've come together as a team, the chemistry is there clearly. I think they would have lost 2 of those games over the last couple weeks, but because of Cam Ward, because Mario Cristobal is maturing as a coach, because they have the talent on offense and their defense is playing as a cohesive unit, they win those games. Should they be in these situations? No, but they don't ask how, gentlemen. They ask how many. So Miami is a contender here.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, you shoot. I'll go after you.
No, I'm saying I agree with what you're saying, Jared. I have Miami as contenders, and I know that could be contradicting my last 2 picks because Miami hasn't played a ranked team yet. However, Miami is 8-0. They have destroyed a lot of these teams. It's mostly just the fact that I've seen more Miami games in the last couple of years, when I started doing the podcast and everything, and I've seen the growth of this team from this year compared to last year and the year before. Cam Ward is a tremendous upgrade at the quarterback position, and Mario Cristobal, with a little bit of some coaching staff changes and things like that, he just seems like just a much different coach. This team just in general just looks like they've just been whipped into shape, and I am very excited to see what they do in the playoffs. And I'm going to take them as contenders. I think they can compete with anybody right now.
It's so funny. Their schedule, the way it's supposed to look, they're supposed to play 4 ranked teams this year. They were supposed to play one. Florida State was supposed to be ranked. You were supposed to play a ranked Cal team. They were close but never actually got ranked. And then we're supposed to play a ranked Syracuse team in the year, a ranked Georgia Tech team. It's unfortunate that our schedule, that was a ranked Florida team. It's unfortunate that our schedule went from 4 to 5 ranked teams to 0. And that's just the way the season goes. We can't help it at that point. So it's kind of one of those things we tried to schedule ranked teams. They just all happened to end up being bad. So there you go. Chrissy, what do you think about my Hurricanes?
I don't know, Jarrett, because I think they're a contender. And like Jarrett, Manny was saying, they haven't played anybody ranked. But I remember we were talking about this last year, and I know you hate the team. I know you despise them. But we talked about Florida State. And we talked about how Florida State didn't play anybody. And they had a great record last year.
Mm-hmm.
Do you put yourself in that same category as Jordan Travis's Florida State team from a couple years ago?
I give you 3 reasons why not.
Shoot.
1.
This is gonna tell me if this is gonna be my contender or pretender pick. So, just persuade me, because I'm not saying you guys are the same team, but I'm just saying I remember we just had a similar discussion about this last year.
So Florida State's biggest problem last year, they were a mercenary team. A lot of their best players. I'm not saying that Miami doesn't have transfer guys, but I think it was a decent amount of their starters were transfer guys. Whereas Miami's got 5 or 6. They're big names, but it's 5 or 6. Miami went in not thinking they weren't having Cam Ward. They didn't get him until June or July. So it wasn't a kind of like that. Also, this team, Florida State, a lot of their close games they were by the way, a lot of their wins last year were games where they lost the game and they got bailed out by a bad call, a bad play by the opposing team, yada, yada, yada. Miami has come back. So California had us on the ropes. They had us knocked down, and in Cam Ward led some Creed Adonis level comeback, slinging touchdowns, running for touchdowns, whatever. And that kind of steered the ship a little bit. Louisville might be the best unranked team on our schedule. They have an elite offense, and I think they're going to continue to win games. What cracks me up about that game is our defense. I swear they haven't had an identity, but they're not bad. I think the problem is we keep running the teams that are giving us their all. And the biggest thing last year with the Florida State, I understand why you think they didn't play anybody. We put them away this year. They had to break our starting quarterback's arm, and they still almost lost. And that was with their starters playing.
Yeah,
this Miami team looks like an actual cohesive team, and they have 3 or 4 year starters on this team. So, barring like a overall upheaval of the culture of this team, the vibe is different. And also, the thing is with Florida State, they've had a national title in the last 10 years. They've had good teams, but the problem is they cycle through coaches like us, but they cycle through for bad reasons. Like Jimbo, they let Jimbo go. Honestly, Jimbo Fisher's the best. Well, they let Jimbo walk to Texas A&M. Willie Taggart might have been the worst head coach I've ever seen in my life. And Mike Norvell had a great quarterback, a couple good transfers, and they won a lot of games in the worst ACC I'd ever seen. The ACC we have now, 3 undefeated teams, 4 teams that honestly would be ranked if it wasn't for one bad loss or one close loss, namely Louisville, Duke, and whatever. I'll think of the other team later. The conference is better this year, and Miami's still winning. Whereas last year was the worst year in conference's history, or one of the worst years, and Florida State only won because Clemson was the only team that was even remotely close to them good, and they were destroyed. They lost to Miami in a third-string quarterback. That's how bad Clemson was last year. So last year, to just sell you on the last point, last year FSU was the best of the worst. They had one good win, which was your LSU Tigers, who just should not ever play on the opening weekend Sunday night game again. Besides that, they had a bunch of close wins that should have been losses if it wasn't for bang plays, injuries, whatever. This Miami team has won in their way and won their way. Have some games been closer than others? Yes. But there are moments where you're like, okay, this team just refuses to lose regardless of how the deck is stacked. That's the difference. Whereas I saw Florida State almost quit last year if it wasn't for Jordan Travis pulling a miracle out of his ass. That's my ploy.
There you go. There's my contender then. That's all I needed to hear.
Are they the last contender in? Yes, but they are still a contender. That's my point.
There you go.
All right. We're going to move on to NFL. We're trying to make this a little quicker. We'll start off with these gentlemen. Are the Birds contenders? Are we officially in the pantheon of actually winning one this year? Maddie.
You have the talent and the roster to do so. I still see some. Now, it's been cleaned up a little more. You guys are on a nice hot streak of winning. The beginning of the season, it kind of seemed like you guys were last year's Eagles just pouring into this year, just with the back and forth, just not getting on track and bonehead plays and things like that. But I will say I am leaning towards contenders because I've seen a lot of just the BS cleanup in the last couple of weeks. And I think you guys are in a nice groove. And I think you guys are definitely going to win that division. But Commanders are looking good. So I will say that if it comes down to it, I think the Eagles will edge them out maybe by a tiebreaker by one game. But I believe that I'm leaning toward you guys are contenders just with the cleanup that you guys have done the last couple of weeks. I think you can compete with whoever you can compete with. You've already proven that you can beat the Chiefs. You did that last year in the regular season. The Lions are the biggest test, I think, for you guys. But if you can get past the Lions, I think you can get past anybody in the AFC.
We do have the Lions number the last couple of years. I will say we're contenders. The biggest thing that stood out to me, if we only won by like one touchdown or a field goal this weekend, I would have said we're pretenders. What I'm noticing, it's how we won. We had the first 4 weeks with a new OC, a new DC. Half our starters didn't play in the regular season or preseason. Half of our starters on offense were injured, and we still managed to go 2-2 into the bye. Game against Cleveland should have been 27-3. There was 2 freak plays that happened that flipped the game by 10 points. We got past that. We're on. We handled business like we should have against the Giants. We were so ahead and had beaten them down so badly. Nick Sirianni pulled starters in the third quarter. That hasn't happened since Carson Wentz was playing quarterback. And last but not least, this week, I watched us adapt, overcome, and dominate. 3 things a championship team can do. We were struggling in the first quarter with containing Jamar Chase. What did we do? We sent Q on him, and we had Reed shade him. 2, we let Cooper DeJean run wild like a wildcat in the secondary, making tackles, knocking dudes out. 3rd, and but not least, oh my God, I hate when people try to call, like they try to bypass my do not disturb. It annoys the hell out of me. Anyway, last but not least, Jalen Hurts has not turned the ball over since the bye week. He has had 3 straight games with no turnovers and exponentially increased. It's the ball placement. He's made the right reads, the right throws. He's not forcing the ball to A.J. Brown. And there were multiple times last week where a holding call or a bad run or a missed block put them in back territory, and Hurts' his legs or arm got them the first down like he did in 2022. 2022, Jalen is back. Is it a little more mixed of 2023? Yes. I think we're never going to get this. The way that offense worked, how it was explosive, how bad some of the teams we played were in 2022 were. But yes, this Eagles team is a full-on contender. I think they have the potential to be the second best team, bar none, in the NFC. It'll be basically Detroit, Philly, and then 30 feet of crap and everything else. That's my word. Chris, what do you think?
I agree with you guys are saying. I think the Eagles are at a high right now. I hope they continue that high within the next couple weeks and hopefully the rest of the season. I think, obviously, I'll put them under my contenders. I do think the offense looks really good right now. I think Hurts is getting the ball out a little bit quicker than he has been. Seems like he's getting a little more time in the pocket, too. I've noticed that with the O-line, so credit to the O-line for holding strong. Defense is,
by the way.
Yeah, defense is clicking. I mean, they're just a good football team right now. It's them and NFC. Yeah, it's them and Detroit. I'm still going to put San Fran in there because I still think San Fran will still compete. I do think they're a different team without CMC, a lot different team without CMC. They got to learn how to adapt without him. But the Eagles are contenders to me.
So on that note, we'll go right into San Francisco. By the way, according to sources, Rap Sheet, I think, reported, or Scheffner, CMC is going to try to get after it hard this week to see if he can play next week, especially with the injury now to Jordan Mason. Interesting thought.
So I thought he was out for the whole year.
No, he was out on IR, and he can stay on IR for X amount of weeks, but then he has to come back once they open up his practice window.
Okay.
So if they open up his practice window tomorrow, we know he's good to go. He's coming back. But I will say this. Niners, to me, are contenders to win the NFC. I don't know if they're contenders to beat the Bills or the Chiefs.
No.
If they get McCaffrey back and he's good to go, then yes. That's my caveat here. But the team I saw last night won't beat Philadelphia. They won't beat Detroit. They won't beat Houston. This is all caveating that CMC comes back healthy, at least for the rest of the season. After this, they're done. But we all know they got to pay Brock Purdy basically $1 zillion. And, but Kittle, Debo, and Juwan Jennings, when he comes back, it's not a bad offense. So, oh, sorry, Chris. I thought you already half said anything about 49ers. You go first, Chris. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna finish off what I was saying. Just they seem to find a way to adapt without CMC. They played a good game yesterday, had a bad fourth quarter. But I mean, Brock's been looking all right. Their defense like a hit or miss for me. That defense, I feel like they're pretty good and then they're not good. So I think they're contenders still. They just went to the Super Bowl last year. They lost CMC. Like if that's the biggest thing they're going to lose, then again they're coming off the Super Bowl hangover. I think they're contenders.
I think they're contenders, but I think their hill is harder to climb than any other team in the NFC because their injury problems are scary. Speaking of the NFC, we'll stay there. Falcons. Are we doing the Dirty Bird boys? Do we think they could win the Super Bowl?
I got to talk my Niners quick.
Sorry, buddy. Sorry, I keep doing this to you today.
No, you're good. I got the Niners as pretenders. I just don't see this team currently. I don't see them getting past Philly. I don't see them getting past a healthy Jordan Love and the Packers. I don't see them getting past a Dan Campbell Lions. This was one of my surprise teams. I didn't think the Niners would be 4-4 struggling, even with some of the injuries, just the way that Jordan Mason blew up the first few weeks. I think it's just a down year. There's no other way to put it. I think it's just one of those seasons where not every season's perfect, and this is just one of those years for Niners. And I think they're pretenders because the other big teams in the NFC, like I mentioned, like the Packers, the Eagles, and the Lions, I don't think they get past them in a meaningful playoff game.
Yeah, I agree. Honestly, like I said, it's a caveat. They basically they get the benefit of the doubt for this couple weeks because they could get CNC back and he could basically turn this around for them. So that's the only reason I have him as contenders. But if he's not what he was and they have to go with Jordan Mason or one of these backups, it's going to be like 2022 all over again. Chrissy, you already went, right? Or no? You didn't go with the Falcons?
Yeah.
Oh, you went with the Falcons?
Falcons now?
Yeah, Falcons.
Yeah. I'm gonna go contenders. Kirk Cousins can turn football teams around.
Especially with Black and Creed.
Yeah, Thuggins, like when he has playmakers, like he can, especially when he finds a group with the offense, like he's like an NFL vibe, dude. Like the dude is just like he's a walking meme. But not all jokes aside, though, like Cousins is just a slinger. Like, and they're just the NFC South is so bad to me outside of the box that I do think the Falcons are just a better team. And I do think they beat us. They beat us too, and we just called the Eagles contenders. So
Yeah.
they can be good football teams. It's Cousins. He's done it in Minnesota, he's done it in Washington. Like they just find ways to win. And now that he has playmakers like London, Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, Darnell Mooney, like he's got guys who can perform just like he had in Minnesota. Like there's just if the defense is a little bit better, Falcons are a pretty good football team.
Okay. I'm going to go off. I'm going to say pretenders only because they should be beating. They should have they can't put away teams. That's what scares me. They should have iced Baker and the boys quickly. And the fact that game went down to an overtime throw or almost overtime causing throw or a game winning throw, it was like, to me, it's like, you know what? Maybe we got to pump the brakes. They are as close as you can get to the 49ers. I believe it's Detroit, Philly, San Fran, Atlanta. Like the gap is this small between the two of them. I think, but the thing is also Atlanta could also, they're a Saquon Barkley drop away from not beating Philadelphia. And they've had a couple of games where they've needed OT to beat the Bucs twice, or almost OT. And thank God for Darnell Mooney because he basically added a dimension to this offense that they are actually able to stretch the field. Kyle Pitts is able to extend plays. Now, Drake London looks great. So I think the most underrated acquisition to them, obviously, Kirk Thuggins is the guy, but we got to throw our flowers to Darnell Mooney, man. He has been sensational as their number 2 guy. He was great yesterday. Best fantasy pickup in my cousin's league I've had all year. Like I'm a big Darnell Mooney guy. I love seeing his redemption.
Who is your fantasy pickup player of the year?
In my cousin league, yes. In the
overall, like if you're,
I don't know. I'll announce that soon because the league's still going.
I'll announce mine. I can tell you mine right now. Like so far,
yeah,
it's Bucky Urban, dude.
Well, Bucky's good too. Mine might be Jake. another nominee, Jake Bates, the kicker from the Lions, averaging like 10 or 11 points a game, man. He's
How
just a
about that?
machine.
How about that Washington kicker, Siebert?
Yeah.
I was about to say, and you know what? He was in the Jets camp this summer.
Siebert?
Cut him. Yeah, and they cut him and they kept Zerline. So I was 1-3 in one of my money leagues, and my roster was stacked. Like my roster was like Stephon Diggs, DJ Moore, and Michael Pittman, and JSN, and Christian Watson, and Darnell Mooney, and I had like Mixon, Montgomery, Barkley, Brees, and Derrick Henry. I couldn't think of why I was 1-3. I had Jordan Love as my quarterback. It was just I had a stacked team, and it was Greg Zuerlein, and I dropped Greg Zuerlein. I picked up Seibert, and I'm on a potential 5-game winning streak. Almost, if the Steelers defense gets 9 points, I'm 5-3, and it's all because I dropped the kicker.
So you need my guy Jones to throw 3 picks.
Yes.
Game on.
Order up.
So Austin Seibert is probably my best fantasy pickup this year, next to Tucker Kraft.
Yeah, Kraft's a good one too. I forgot about Kraft.
Tucker Kraft's been great.
And I know. I don't know if we have time to talk about this. I think I still got to go as contender pretender, but the Hail Mary.
That's our finisher tonight.
Okay.
Trust me, we're gonna finish the game with the rest of the games you didn't touch on today. So we're gonna rapid fire through these quick.
Yeah, this one.
Falcons.
Yeah, the Falcons. I'm gonna lean towards pretender, but they're not far off for being a contender for me. Just to keep it short and sweet and simple, the way that the Eagles are playing right now, if they were to play like this and get into the playoffs in January, which they will, but if they can continue this momentum that they're on right now, where they've got a better, cleaned up, more polished football, I think they beat the Falcons. I don't think the Falcons beat the Lions, and I don't think the Falcons beat the Packers. So to me, those are the top 3 NFC teams: the Eagles, the Packers, and the Lions, not in no particular order. But if I don't see you getting past any of those 3 in that conference, I don't think you're going to be a contender.
That's a good point.
Right. We're gonna rapid fire these quick, so no sentence, just say contender, pretender. Vikings, Chris.
Pretender.
Pretender.
All right, Ravens, contender.
Contender.
Pretender.
Ooh. Shout out to our boy Big H Hector. Texans, I say contender.
Contender.
I'll say contender.
All right, and last but not least, and we'll roll into talking about the one team that was omitted from here. Packers. I'm going to say pretender.
Contender.
I will say
Jordan Love's health, man. I do not. He's getting injured too much.
Well, you know what? I will say I'm very, just looking at what I saw in Tennessee and what I see now, I'm very impressed with Malik Willis. But if Jordan Love can stay healthy, it's contender. If he misses time and Malik Willis takes over in the playoffs, that's pretender.
Yeah. All right. So the one team I left off this list because I want to go into it. We're going to rapid fire run the games we didn't talk about because half of these were on the list of why are we talking about this. So, fellas, you ready for the fastest 30 seconds I've ever read a game off of? I abstained from talking about the Patriots Jets because Matt suffered enough. Packers Jags was one of the best games of the year, and it wasn't on national television. It was a damn shame. Brian Thomas Jr. should win Offensive Rookie of the Year. No doubt in my mind. Shout out to Jagging off and shout out to LSU for producing another goodie. Titans Lions, yikes. Damn, Dan, did they steal your lunch money? Falcons should have put away the Bucs earlier. This is why I had them as pretenders. Cardinals, another walk-off against the Tua and the Dolphins. Dolphins are terrible. Tua or not, Mike McDaniels is washed as a coach. We talk about Browns Ravens. Colts Texans. This game scared me for my Texans contenders take, but Anthony Richardson is not a good pro football quarterback.
Nah. You do have one Flacco back.
Also, when he's tapping out on the second last play of the game, Pat McAfee said it best, dude. Quarterbacks don't do that. Saints Chargers, this game should have been up by more. The Chargers need a receiver badly. Jalen Reagor and Josh Palmer are not your answers. Bill Seahawks, we talked about it. Panthers Broncos. Could you give the ball to Javonte Williams just once in the end zone? Sean Payton, I hate you. Chiefs Raiders. Travis Kelce finally got in the end zone. Woo! And obviously we talked about Thursday football. So that leaves the last game, the main event of the night. We got about 6 minutes left, boys. Ooh, the battle of 1 and 2. Jaden Daniels versus Caleb Williams. Let's unpack this one. Both teams' offense looked abysmal. Commanders were getting killed by penalties, and if it wasn't for one great run by DeAndre Swift, shout out, and one tough run by Roshan Johnson, Commanders don't need to chuck this Hail Mary. The Bears offense to me looks hilarious. I don't know. It resembles Mitch Trubisky all over again, but with more talent.
Dude, they're who's the guy who's taunting the Commanders fans?
Tyreek Stevenson from that's why I backed him.
Jackass, dude. What a jackass.
I saw a video. A buddy of mine who's a Miami fan texted me, goes, "You see our boy Reek out there?" I'm like, "Oh no, you dummy!" And he's the one who tipped it. Oh my god! I wish we could show. I wish we could show the footage. Unless they have like Nate. Do you think you could pull up the the fan footage so we don't get nailed with the copyright?
Dude, dude, he was talking crap to Scary Terry. And
it's the footage of him waving and then running over for the tip. That footage.
And then I'm like watching it, dude. I'm like, he's on the other side of the end zone. He's not even close to them at this point.
Technically, they're supposed to do 4 across and then they converge.
Oh, yeah, you're right. But
so that part I understood. But the fact that the play was starting, you still telling like, Reek, turn around, dude. Even though my parlay was stayed alive because of that Hail Mary. So I'm not complaining.
Dude, oh my god, dude! Like, as a Bears fan, like the misery you've been through, and for like the past, I don't know, 100 years of your existence.
Oh my god!
Outside your one Super Bowl, have you ever smiled in your lifetime?
I felt so bad. Did you see the video of Big Cat and PMT and all the boys watching? I was like, dude, Big Cat's face. I was just like, that poor.
He said, "Oh no!" Like, and I was listening to Part of My Take today.
I gotta listen tomorrow. I've been listening to Trump and Rogan. I had to check it out.
Part of my take. He said he had a feeling it was going to happen when Jaden hit the second scramble when he was going to one side of the field, and then he escaped, and he still had a little more time when they were able to set and get down there. And then he's.
Absolute freaking man. Shout out to Nate if I find that clip for us.
Yeah,
Chris, continue.
I was just gonna say, dude, like I felt so bad for Big Cat and like the Bears, like the whole entire Bears community, Bears fans. Like that's just a horrible way to lose, dude. Like, especially, do you remember? I'll just bring up a quick Hail Mary a couple years ago. Do you remember the Hail Mary a couple years ago? It was like the Bengals versus Ravens. And it was same exact one, and it was AJ Green. They tipped it. Baltimore tipped it. And AJ Green caught it in the end of the end zone.
Andy Dalton threw it or something like that.
Andy Dalton threw it. Yeah, like that's the first Hail Mary that it reminded me of because it's the exact same one.
I remember. By the way, I remember Richard Rodgers, Packers Lions.
Richard Rodgers, yeah. Dude, he threw it. I swear to God, Jaden threw it like 10 yards short of the end zone, and then it still managed to get tipped over everybody into Noah Brown's hand. So, my goodness, Commanders
crazy.
Needed to lose that for us.
Listen, I need it for my parlay. They can lose next week. I don't really care. I thought they were going to win that game outright. So the fact that they almost lost it just made me feel better about our chances. But like, I was like in my parlay, I was like, oh, I totally got Daniels is playing. Oh, Commanders are winning. I'm like, this is going to be easy. And I'm like, they're not scoring.
But they didn't score a touchdown until that play.
So Matty, what you thought about this? Obviously, we can talk as much about how Tyreek Stevenson kind of had a doofus move there. He's still a top 30 corner. It's like,
yeah, well, like, dude, you can't do that.
I know. Listen, he's probably running laps for hours tomorrow, but it's like he's not gonna get cut.
I wonder what the locker room vibe is.
Technically, he made the right play. He went and attacked the ball.
Yeah, but like everybody in that room saw that footage when they went back in the locker room, and everyone in the sideline saw what he was doing. Like, I wonder what the coach was saying. Like, I mean, the Bears coaching is notoriously bad. It's always been. But like, dude, what do you do?
To be fair, if he got another inch on that jump, he probably picks that ball off. And we're not even having this conversation this morning. We're calling it like the ballsiest play ever.
It's just it looks so bad, dude. Like,
I know.
God.
I know.
He definitely went to Twitter and apologized, dude. I didn't even check, but I'll put
He
one
did.
on it.
He did.
He did.
Yep, and there it is.
Maddie, what do you think? Any thoughts on this? The Commanders, the Bears, and the worst offense bowl.
I thought this was probably one of the best games of the season so far. Like, this was one of the best mid-scoring games that I've seen this year. It was just something about it was just a very tough defensive game. But it was very appreciative because it was just a weird game. Like, the Bears tried to recreate the whole like refrigerator Perry handoff on the 1 yard line, and the offensive lineman completely fumbled it right away. Jaden Daniels looked like he was playing better than Caleb Williams, and he had banged up ribs. He took one shot, and you could see him wincing and everything, but he still played pretty well considering his injury. The Bears just defense kept him in that game. DeAndre Swift a late score, and then they think they got it locked up, and you just get that Hail Mary just tipping. It just felt like that. The feeling of that game ending the way it ended was almost like that Minnesota Miracle type just atmosphere where just everybody thought everything was dead, and they were like, all right, well, and then the miracle happens. And this is just a great thing for Jaden Daniels to have in his young career so far, just to have that confidence and that momentum going into each week. He has this Commanders team, a fun, just feisty team. I wouldn't put these Commanders as contenders yet. I think they're having a fun season. I think going forward, they're going to be dangerous, but I think they're young and inexperienced when it comes to, getting deep into the playoffs, obviously. I mean, Dan Quinn has Super Bowl experience, but you got a rookie quarterback. You got a very young running back core. Terry McLaurin has not gotten that far in his playoff career yet, but they're a fun team, and shout out to them. That was an amazing game. That was the most fun I've had watching football in a while at a 1 o'clock game.
I know you're not going to agree with me with this, Jared.
Yeah.
I don't know if you will. You might. I don't take them like lightly at all. Like the Commanders.
I think they're going to be a fight. I think what is going to be.
The problem is we have problems with Taylor Heineke with them. Like we have problems with who's the other dude? Who's the other dude they had?
Alex Smith?
No. Last year. Sam Howell.
Oof.
Sam Howell. We had issues with Sam Howell. Like,
I throw last year out the window. I really do.
But still, like, it's just.
I'm telling you right now, Chris, I think.
I'm not going to say they have their number.
We have a much better secondary. AJ Brown set up real estate in that secondary last year. And oh, by the way, Devontae Smith plays his best games against the Commanders. It's like a running joke in their locker room. Like, against the Commanders, just put Devontae Smith in for at least one touchdown, $130 receiving. They haven't fixed their secondary. Their pass rush is good. It's playing better than I thought it would. And their linebackers are playing good. Like, they're hanging in games, but their offense is winning them these games, so they don't have to put as much pressure on their defense. That is what the problem is. They can score points, and Dan Quinn is a defensive genius, but that only gets you so far when you actually have to play a real offense. Let's not forget, this Bears team is like a beat-up Toyota with brand new rims and spoilers on it. That offense is still the same crap bowl it's been for years. They got better talent. They got a better engine, same ugly frame, same shiny rims with all these new weapons, and they're still struggling. That's it. That's what I'm going to tell you right now. I think they are going to be a problem. I think it's going to come down to the last couple weeks with us. But I think if we follow the same formula the Ravens followed, we're fine. That's my honest to God take. If we follow what John Harbaugh did against them, and hey, last time I checked, Chrissy, I think we got a comparable running back to Derrick Henry. What do you think?
Yeah,
just thinking. Yeah, so I think we'll be okay. We have better receivers than the Ravens do. Honestly, the quarterback to me, I'm not as big of a Lamar guy as I want to. I love Lamar. I think he's great. I just don't think
I'm not either. That's why
I don't think he's elite. I think he's the same tier as Jalen Hurts. I think what separates him is he's in a different conference, in a different city. But there it is. So, oh, by the way, Hurts has better numbers than Burrow in their career. Just
I did see that one.
So that about wraps it up, boys and girls. This has been the Corner Booth Podcast. We'll be back for the Corner Booth pregame on Thursday. Dom will be back as well. Shout out to him braving the Connecticut traffic. We will obviously have our updated standings tomorrow. I believe after some math additions, me and Chris and Nate are all tied now. Matt's up by 9. And yeah. Shout out to you.
Go Giants! I can't wait to lose tonight.
Listen, Nate, if you guys lose, I get $60 and I will place a bet in your honor.
Thank you.
Next week.
Le'Veon Bell said he's so confident that the Steelers will win that if they lose, he'll never tweet again.
That's
it's
BS.
not like it's Antonio Brown, so who really cares? All right, ladies and gentlemen, shout out to our sponsors. We were going to do a Monday night preview, but then we're just like...
Oh, I forgot about that. I'm sorry.
What is there to preview?
Here's our preview. Steelers defense is going to have at least 4 sacks tonight. Book it.
I hope. I need 5
games
points.
The game's in Pittsburgh. The preview is that the Steelers are going to win.
Steelers. I hate that we're all this confident the Steelers will win. The Steelers should win. If they run the football and Russ plays the way Russ plays, they should be fine. That's it. As long as there's no quarterback competition bullshit like Justin Fields running onto the field instead of, I think they're going to be okay. So that about wraps up, boys and girls. I think we all have the Steelers winning tonight, right? Clean sweep. Yeah. That being said, we hope you guys have a great week. Once again, Thursday show, we'll be back. Dom will be back. We'll have our update. We might have one of the best football weekends of the year, by the way.
Halloween too.
So we have a special surprise for you guys for Halloween. So you ghouls and gals, be ready for our Thursday show. It's going to be a fun time. We have an updated banner. We have to do some fun stuff for it. So, ladies and gentlemen, have a happy rest of your week. We will see you Thursday for Corner Booth pregame. And shout out our sponsors, candidates, SeatGeek, and Righteous Felon. Peace!
Love you guys.